Well, happy birthday, Mazda 6. For the 2023 model year, Mazda is celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Mazda 6 sedan and wagon, and they're doing so by putting a badge on the side of a regular Mazda 6. Well, there are a few more things, but that's basically it, because this car could arguably have a 10th anniversary badge, because the third generation 6 has now been in market 10 years. But you know what? It's still a pretty good car, and in a world where everything new is sort of super new, maybe the new car that you really want isn't that new of a car at all. Priced from just under $54,000 for the sedan and just under $55,000 for the wagon, the Mazda 6 20th Anniversary Edition launches two new colours, Artisan Red like our car and Rhodium White as seen on the sedan. You get a gloss grille and silver 19-inch alloy wheels to round out the anniversary badges on the outside, plus lovely tan Napa leather seats and synthetic suede trim on the inside. Power comes from the familiar 2.5-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder Skyactiv G engine that has had a few performance tweaks for 2023, now offering 173 kilowatts, up from 170, thanks to revised turbo boost settings. And like it has for the past 10 years, the Mazda 6 is still front-wheel drive and still uses a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, the Mazda 6 is still available in a sedan and wagon. Clearly, we have the wagon here, but here's something you may not know. The wheelbase on the wagon is actually 80 millimetres or 8 centimetres shorter than the sedan, and the sedan is actually longer than the wagon overall. And if you think that sounds weird, it is, especially in the car world where manufacturers will develop one kind of platform and then stick a body on top. The reason for this is the sedan is targeted at the US market, where they like a bit more rear legroom, whereas the wagon is targeted at the European market, where they like to, well, look good. The thing is though, you still have a choice here in Australia, and the reason we're talking about the wagon today is because in this market, well, let's face it, wagons are becoming rarer and rarer, and to tie into this whole thing being maybe a new car that's not really all that new, the wagon body style's the best way to lead. The updates aren't limited to the 20th Anniversary Edition either, with all 2.5-litre turbo models across the Mazda 6 range scoring the power bump. The 2.5-litre non-turbo unit is unchanged. There are 5 trim grades to choose from, all offered in both sedan and wagon, with wireless phone charging, wireless Apple CarPlay, traffic queuing cruise control, a few new colours, and some black trim on the GTSP among the improvements. You can read all the details of the changes to the entire 2023 Mazda 6 lineup at Drive.com.au. Now, while there have been updates across the Mazda 6 range, this 20th anniversary model has a really lovely interior. If you're a Simpsons fan, this is what Mr. Burns' Greyhound tuxedo would have felt like. It's really nice. It's like patting a sausage dog, really sort of therapeutic and calming for the inside of a car. But it also makes the car feel, well, a lot more upmarket. You've got some really good stuff here too. We're going to go through the positives first. It is a very well laid out cabin. It's very ergonomic. Everything is clear and easy to reach. You've got heated and ventilated seats. It's a nice touch points. It's well put together. But what I can hear you saying is, geez, James, that screen looks a bit small for 2023. And you know what? I'm going to add to that and say that screen and its interface here is kind of a little bit 2013, because as soon as it's a touchscreen here while we're stopped, but as soon as we put the car in drive, you have to use the shuttle control down here. And okay, that takes a little bit of getting used to, but it also has the capability for wireless Apple CarPlay screen projection. And if you've got an icon-driven interface like the Apple CarPlay one, which is designed for a touchscreen, and have to scroll through infinite kind of things to move a little pixel around the screen, it's like playing a car racing game using a keyboard. It just is counterintuitive. It really doesn't work. I have not had a great time with CarPlay keeping up its connection as well. You're better off almost not using it in the car, and really this is the area where if Mazda could do a little bit of tweaking to the 6, changing this sort of interface and the, I guess, modernization of that usability while the car is on the move would be a massive step, because the rest of the cabin and the rest of the car is actually a really nice place to spend time. Now, while we've got the wagon, let's take a quick look at the back, because there's one other thing that really kind of reminds you that this is a car from an era of times gone past where boots didn't open themselves. Okay, so here we are at the back of our wagon. Now this is a $55,000-ish plus on-roads station wagon, top of the range. It's 2023, and you got to do this yourself. Now, that may sound a little bit picky, and you might think, geez, James, you've got to open the boot yourself, but this is yet another way that the 6 has kind of stayed in its 10th anniversary phase. You really should be getting a power boot on a car in this day and age, certainly at this price point. That said, once your boot's open, it's actually a pretty good boot. Cargo space is 506 litres with the seats up, which expands to 1648 litres with the rear folded down 60/40. There's a space-saver tyre under the floor too. Okay, so we've established that, yes, the Mazda 6 is 20 years old and this Mazda 6 is 10 years old, even though this Mazda 6 is brand new. But it's not all bad. There are some really, really good parts of this car that I can explain a bit more on the road. So let's go for a bit of a drive and we'll wind the clock back and we'll relax and we'll enjoy what is still one of the most dynamically capable and really enjoyable cars to drive, even now in 2023. So look, you've got plenty of choices in the market today, no question. If you want super modern, you want electrification, then this in either sedan or wagon isn't actually that far away from the price of a base level Tesla Model 3, and you could go there. If in the other way you're saying, look, I really like a nice sedan, I like some mod cons, it doesn't need to be the greatest, well then you've got things like perhaps the Camry Hybrid that's more efficient to drive. But if you're basically saying, look, James, I've owned Mazdas, I've been really happy with my Mazdas, I don't need the world to reinvent itself every 5 minutes, I don't need to relearn everything, but I would like a nice new car that smells nice and feels nice and has a warranty and is supported and all that sort of stuff, then this is kind of the car for you. It's, in a way, the reason people keep buying vanilla ice cream. There's a reason that it's the #1 seller, because people kind of like something that's okay. You don't have to do the newest, fanciest, most amazing thing. And I know that sounds like I'm almost making excuses for the 6, and perhaps in a way I am. Maybe I'm feeling a little bit nostalgic for the mid-size Mazda, but there is a lot to like about this car, ignoring the fact that there are a lot of kind of older points as well. So look, the first things first, the turbocharged engine. Now, I would love this car if it had a 6-cylinder in it. It doesn't, it will never. But that 4-cylinder turbo engine is powerful enough. You've got the ability to hold touring speeds. You've got enough punch for overtaking at highway pace. It's an easy car on a long distance drive. It's very manageable and tractable around town. It may not be the most efficient thing going. Like I said, you could get a Camry Hybrid if you want that. But it's not overly thirsty either, and it's just a really nicely managed platform of, well, knowing what you're going to get. Now, the other key thing about the Mazda 6 is the ride quality. This car has had 10 years of refinement and development, and I tell you what, Mazda have really got it sorted for Australian roads, and we sort of say that as a throwaway term, but we're here in regional Victoria where the roads are pretty crap. You've got potholes, you've got patchwork, it's rough. I've even been on some gravel sections and the car just handles it and it just eats it up. It's comfortable everywhere. It's not thumpy, it's not crashy. You just kind of get into a really nice, relaxed driving position. And it is a nice, relaxed driving position. It feels ergonomic, everything's within reach, everything feels natural. You are able to get into this car having never driven it before and feel immediately comfortable, even on a longer drive. And I tell you what, for a lot of people, that's a massive appeal point. In terms of technology, like I said earlier, you're let down a little bit by the fact that the touchscreen doesn't touch when you're driving the car. I had a few dropouts on my wireless Apple CarPlay, but it is a well-featured system. If you've got it set and you're not constantly playing with it, I know I just basically pick the radio station I'm going to listen to and leave it on, or I let my favourite Drive podcast run while I'm out for a tour. You're kind of not really playing with it as it is anyway, so you learn to live with it. It's not ideal. I am making excuses for it, and it really should. Now, you'll probably notice that I did change my tone halfway through the sentence, just like kind of any middle-aged 10-year-old, brand new car and a 10-year-old body really would. The Mazda 6 carries a 5-star ANCAP safety rating across all models and includes pre-collision braking with pedestrian detection, blind spot detection, lane departure assist, speed sign detection, and adaptive cruise control.
So here we go, and I guess I'll sum up this way. I had a caller on the radio a couple of weeks ago, said they'd bought a brand new European car. It was full of all the latest tech. It had driver assistance things that were basically trying to drive the car for them. It had beeps and blops, and it had all sorts of things to learn, and they didn't like it because it was such a massive step forward. You've got adaptive cruise control, you've got lane departure warnings here, but it's not intrusive. You've got some technology here, including wireless phone charging, but it's not over the top and you don't need to relearn everything. It's still a really good looking car. It's still a really lovely car to drive. It's still a relatively efficient car. And for those points, it gives you what so many don't at this point, a new car that isn't all that new. And I'm going to leave you with this. Taylor Swift may be selling out concerts around the world with brand new albums and TikToks, but the Rolling Stones still sell out every show that they run. Think about it. So where are we with the 6? Well, I can tell you what, speaking from experience, no one likes a birthday where everybody reminds them of just how old they are. It's just not, it just doesn't work out. We all want to know that we've aged gracefully and we've still got a lot of life left in us, even if the world is kind of overrun by youth who are far more agile and capable and maybe a little bit fancier. I'm talking about cars here, please. The concept of a new Mazda 6 in a very new world. You may be wanting electrification, autonomy, virtual reality, augmented reality, then that's great. There are solutions for you. But if you're sitting there going, whoa, slow down, world. I need a new car. I'd like a new car. I want a few mod cons. But you know what? I don't have to relearn, and I don't want to relearn everything about it. Then maybe the Mazda 6 is still the car for you. Let's face it, it's comfortable, it's punchy, it tours brilliantly. It is still a really good looking rooster. It's holding its age really well, even in this modern world. So a Mazda 6 station wagon in its 10th year of its 20th year may not have too many years left in it, but I tell you what, for now, for a lot of people out there who want a simpler future, it could definitely still be worth a look at. If you've enjoyed this clip, hit like and subscribe and all the YouTubey stuff. If you too are aging gracefully and are still managing to be a pretty good looking rooster, even a little bit late in life, like the Mazda 6 wagon, let us know in the comments below. And of course, if there's anything you want to know about the Mazda 6, its 20th anniversary, where the Mazda 6 even came from, head on over to Drive.com.au for all the details.